It's your boy Joe, aka I Do This, aka Coding Face, man. Listen, we're gonna start with something very simple, man. We're gonna start with something great, something amazing. How Donald Trump says, we're gonna build Netflix, right? It's just gonna be something simple, a clone. It's not gonna have all the functionalities that Netflix has. Maybe later on we'll add everything that Netflix has to it, but for now all we want to do is just basically have a page that looks like Netflix or something similar, just for you guys to learn the basics. All right, so we're gonna start with this. We're gonna go to Chrome and we're gonna go to repl.it, repl, right? Right here you're gonna find basically different languages. You got Python, Ruby, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Scheme, C Sharp, Java. There's a very good place to start just to play around. This is what you call a playground. Just for you to come in, test out some code and just play around with it. You're not gonna create a full website out of this, but here this is where you start, because you don't need a text editor, you don't need anything else. Just come to the website and you go to HTML, CSS, JavaScript, click there, and then you come here. So it'll take you to this page. Pretty much right here you write your code, and then here you have different files. So let me introduce you. You know how you have, for every image you have something like .jpg or .jpeg or .gif or bitmap, whatever it is, right? Or let's say your Microsoft Word, it's usually the .docx or .txt. That's your file extension. So when you're writing something for HTML, it's usually just, something .html. So usually your first page that you create, you name it index.html, and then pretty much you write down your code here, right? So let's say an example. When you click run, whatever you put here is gonna show here on this side of the page, right? So let me introduce you to the most simple side of things. So let's say, you know how you start with an essay, right? You have your introduction, your body, and your conclusion, right? Well, in HTML, you have your HTML tag, which basically says, okay, inside of this is a document, right? Now, inside of this document, in your head, it's like your basically your introduction. So here you have your title, you have your body, and then in the body you just have your content, whatever you wanted to put there. You know what I mean? Now, so let's say an example, right? You come over here, I want to name this my first app. One thing that you got to learn about this thing is that you basically put everything inside of a tag. So like right now, let's start this from scratch. I could say HTML, which is my document, has a head. Inside the head, I have a title. Inside the title, I actually have the text that I want the title to say. So my first page, right? Now inside the HTML title or the HTML document, pretty much you have your body too. So you click body, and inside your body you have your text. So like, let's say this is my body, right? So now it shows up here, right? That's cool, right? So this is just the beginning. This is the first introduction on what HTML is and what it looks like. When you go to any page, let's say an example, Netflix, right? You go to Netflix. Inside of here, whatever you see, there's a code behind it. When you right click and you hit inspect, inside of here they have all the code of what's going on the page. So right now we're gonna start with something very simple, but at the end it's gonna look very complicated. Anybody who doesn't understand this and like sees this for the first time, they get overwhelmed. They're like, oh my god, there's so much code, there's so much things to learn. But pretty much you're only gonna learn like 4 to 5 different tags. And then after you learn those 5 tags, you reuse that every single time. Alright, so you got your HTML, which is your document. You have your head, where it's basically like your introduction. And then you have your title inside the head, which is a title. Then from there you have your body. That's where you write your content. Whatever it is, images, anything that you put in, it actually goes right there, right? So this is the first introduction to just HTML and what it looks like. The next step, I'm gonna break down what we call the box model. It's just pretty much just breaking down things into sections. You know, if you ever drawn anything before, or you know, had art class or anything like that, it's very simple. It's just making squares and rectangles, and I'm gonna show you that in a little bit. All right, see you in a little bit.